Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Operation Evil, and we are blessed to have Mr. Rob from the Order 42 show back to do some Reddits and Sedits with us. Thanks for
Hello.
coming back on.
Thank you for having me.
You're amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. So are you guys.
Oh,
Again, my friend, back off.
No, sorry.
Nicer than Billy.
Oh, Billy. Oh, man.
I just watched the
Calling
video.
them out.
I just watched the video of stuff people sent us.
Oh, yeah.
So finally, they opened our package, or the thank you package.
18 years later.
Well, I was there behind the camera.
Yeah. Because Jay was like, or no, it was Melwar. He's like, you can say something.
Well, I was
That's
like, if I'm not
awesome.
on camera, it's just weird for somebody to make comments behind the camera. So I just stayed quiet.
They were being so mean to him.
Oh my God. Yeah, I missed that one.
It's
Yeah,
fun.
they're always mean to him. It's weird how it is real life. Like they are that way, but then when the cameras turn off, everybody's kind of chill,
Yeah.
you know?
Just ham it up a little bit.
Yeah, and it's almost like they turn up the irritation factor. Like I don't know, it's funny. It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch them go from everything's cool to yelling at each other. You know?
Yeah, and I've seen it in real life, so I know
Yeah.
exactly what he's talking about.
Well, I don't know, but I finally got to experience at least your show and join in, and that was fun. And I will say, I have the link in the show notes. Go check out Rob's Order 42 show, and his followers are very, very funny.
Mhm.
Like you have some good people on there. Like I can tell they are good people. They are hilarious.
I think my big thing is that, you know, when I did a podcast way back when,
Mhm.
we had a really sort of rambunctious crew, and the message boards would get just insane. This is
And
a lot more
yes.
chill, but there's still a lot of fun, you know, so it's
And
all
their
good.
energy bounces off each other too.
Yeah.
What I noticed in the comments, like they're all like, "Hey," but like they all know each other, and they're just like
Yeah,
having a party in the
Yeah.
chat. So
It's
that's
fun.
that's fun.
he's been playing some clips on his lives.
Fun.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if she told you really what. Are you into Reddit? Do you get into reading Reddit stuff at all?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I've been using Reddit for probably about 10 years now.
Oh gosh,
I
you're a
don't-
pro, not me.
But I don't get into people's conversations because they're nuts. The people on Reddit, they're just,
It's a different kind.
yeah, you just never know what you're going to get. But I mean, yeah, I enjoy it. And in fact, they just did this weird rule where third party apps have to pay some sort of money to use the API and all that stuff. It's basically Reddit wants everybody like on iPhone and everything like that to use their own app, and their own app kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So I haven't been on it as regularly as I used to. I used to get on it, you know, once, twice a week and for a couple hours, just get lost in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
there's
I mean,
so
it
many
is
like
fun.
subgroups too. So depending on where you look at stuff, there's
Yeah,
there's something for everyone, I guess.
exactly. Like you name it.
It's there.
I mean, as goofy as you want to get, or as crazy as you want to get.
Yeah.
Dark
Yeah.
web kind of stuff sometimes, and
Yes.
it's like, okay, that's okay. I just went down a rabbit hole I shouldn't have.
So I'm guessing you have seen dark web stuff.
I mean, a little bit, but not. I mean, I don't go seeking it out.
Right.
I mean, in my old days when I used to do a little bit of. I was no pro, but I got into hacking a little bit, just a little bit, just enough for me to get in some trouble and go.
I mean, hello, the
this
movie
is-
Hackers made you want to do it. You know?
No, I don't know what it. I don't know what it was, but all I know is what happened to me was I was in this is old days, okay? I'm old. But it was ICQ. The ICQ was like an old, like almost like a messaging type thing. It was a lot like Reddit, but it was its own platform, right? And I'm in there and I'm doing stuff, and I get a like a message that comes up, This is on Windows back in the day. Window comes up and it says, "Hey, I don't think that you should be doing that."
Oh,
And I'm like, "What?" So I close it, and it comes up again. And it's I don't remember exactly what it said, but it was enough to make me go, "Okay, I'm done." And I closed the app, right? I closed the app completely. And I got a dialog box on my computer, like Windows dialog box, bing, you know what I mean? Like right in the center. And it said, "You don't think you're going to get rid of me that easy, do you?"
Oh my God.
this
I
is
shut
all the
down my
horror
computer
stuff
and I
that
was
you
just
think
like,
of with the dark web.
it's, yeah, it was enough to make me go, "This is not for me. I'm not good enough to know what the heck they're doing and how they're." I mean, he got into my computer and used my Windows dialog stuff. And that's probably easy to do. Maybe, I don't know. All I
That's
know is
scary.
we're talking like around 2000. Okay? This is a long time ago
Yeah.
because I hadn't used Windows in a long time, but it was enough to make me go, "Okay, I shouldn't be messing with this. This is not for me."
No, that's terrifying.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
stories
crazy.
like that, though, that I was trying to pull from Reddit. So most of the stuff came from like creepy encounters, let's not meet, petty revenge, like those categories. So I found some and Rachel found some, and let's just give our, 2 cents about
And Rob
what we
found
think.
some too.
Yes,
Well, I
you
found
found
one.
some.
One.
Oh,
I,
that's
I gave
exciting.
one because I don't like I said, I don't typically seek out that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Because it just freaks me out. I guess it's because I don't know. It just makes me go, "Okay, ooh, no." So I don't know. I'm interested to hear these stories that you guys came up with though.
There's one I'm going to start with. And I don't even know if it's a real story because this came from a sub called No Sleep. I don't know if it's real or not. Do you know that category?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Are
where
they
I got
real
the
stories?
I
Oh my
don't
God,
I
what about
mean
if we had the same story? That would be freaky.
no, it's well, I'll let you go and then if you pull it up
Okay.
then cool.
Well, mm, if it is your story, I will wait for you to tell it because
Okay.
this one just caught my eye. But it's titled, I haven't seen anyone for 28 days. Is that it?
Hmm.
Okay. All right, we're good then. I'm a 15-year-old boy from the UK. I don't know why I feel the need to mention that. I don't understand why I do anything now. My life was so normal. I went to school, hung out with my friends, and did all the normal stuff people my age do. What I believed to be 28 days ago, I woke up in the night, I checked my phone, and it read 1:13. I didn't feel tired enough to go back to sleep, so I decided to go on my phone and listen to music for a bit. Afterwards, I checked my phone again, 1:13. Maybe I misread it last time. I decided I should go back to sleep. When I woke up, the clock still read 1:13.
Maybe it needs batteries.
I knew this is a phone though.
Oh,
I
whatever.
I knew I saw the same time earlier. It was still completely dark out. It was at this point I started to panic. I like to have everything explained to some degree, and not being able to think of an excuse for my situation was stressing me. I remember that my parents were in the room down the hall. I decided I should seek their help. I entered their room and my heart dropped. They weren't there. Their bed was empty. My dog's beds were also empty. I ran into my sister's room and was greeted by the same thing, an empty bed. Maybe they're all downstairs. Downstairs was empty as well. No one, nothing, silence. I started to feel lightheaded. I was hyperventilating and struggling to catch my breath. At some point, I fainted. When I awoke, it was still dark and the house was still empty. The clock still read 1:13. Something was very wrong. I needed help. I called 999 in the hopes that I could get some help. The phone picked up and it was just static on the other end. I was desperate now. I put on clothes and I left the house. I knocked on my neighbor's door. When my fist made contact with it, it flung open. Why was their door unlocked? A part of me hoped it was a sign that they were still there, but I was mistaken. Another empty house. I spent the next several hours searching the houses near mine, and everything was the same, emptiness. Each house was in pristine condition, yet no one lived in them. After searching for a while, I looked behind me and I see a figure in the distance. It was pale white. Its arms were abnormally long and it had no hands, just sharp points at the end of its arms. It also had no legs, meaning it was just a torso and featureless head walking around with its arms. This thing horrified me, and I stared at it for a while, but it did nothing. It didn't move once. Maybe I'm just seeing things. Loneliness is getting to me or something. I grew tired of searching, so I went back home and slept. When I woke up, can you guess? 113, still empty. I started searching again for anything or anyone. I also got hungry, and I stopped for some food at the full but empty 7-Eleven. I started calling phone numbers. They all did the same thing. They picked up, but it was just static. I also saw that thing again, only it felt like it was closer to me, only by a meter, but it was closer. The next few weeks, or what felt like weeks, I couldn't tell since it was always 113, went the same. I looked, I ate, I called, I saw the same thing again. Every time I saw it, I felt like it was closer. After some time, I started hearing a faint static. It was coming from that thing, the same static I heard when I called a number. I could only assume that it was picking up the phone. The static kept getting louder as the thing got closer to me over time. I hated this feeling the thing gave me. Hearing the static does something to me. This has been my life for the past month, I think. I'm only writing this because the power shut down a few hours ago. And the hours is in quotations. That thing is right behind me. All I can hear is static. I'm using the last of my phone battery to write this as I sit in pure darkness, hearing nothing but static. What happened? How do I make it out? Please help me. That was it.
What do you
Was it
think,
posted
Rob?
at 113?
I would die if it was. It doesn't say.
That would be really
it said
cool if
4
it was.
days ago.
It doesn't give the time.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't give it. I don't think they give. I mean, there might be a time code on it, but that would be awesome if it was at like he waited to post it until 113.
That would be amazing.
I mean, I don't know. See, go ahead. Sorry.
It feels like a fake story to me, but it was interesting to me because I have this thing with like time travel and like time glitches and like glitches in the Matrix and all these things. But people have like commented on here that there hasn't been a 7-Eleven in like years in the UK.
Maybe he's in a coma.
They said he may be in the future, past, or a fake alternate reality.
There's no 7-Elevens in the UK.
That's what somebody said. Or there hasn't been for a while now.
Huh.
I don't know. Somebody said it sounds like you slipped into the empty. And it's a world where you can slip into between the hours of 1:13 and 1:42 a.m. There is rarely anyone there. It is a world to be alone. You have been there too long and you must get out. If you do not, the keepers of the empty will steal you into their void. You will lose your memory of your life and only seek to collect the souls of those who have lost the ability to leave. You will become a keeper. I don't know, but I definitely read the story.
Did they reply to anything else?
Let's see.
That sounds like Stranger Things.
It does sound like Stranger Things. I'm not seeing any comments from OP.
What was the title of it?
It was titled, I Haven't Seen Anyone for 28 Days. Can I click on his name?
I was going to see if I could find it.
Oh, there's a part 2. There's a part 2.
Oh, well, go for it.
Okay. Hello again. I read the comments on my previous post and the advice it given to me. I saw someone mention something about sitting in the static and looking for the light. I went to respond to the comment, but the thing standing inches behind me got louder. The static it gave off increased in volume and intensity to the point where I felt my left ear start to bleed. I stopped responding to the comment and the static went back to normal. It seems that direct communication with the outside world isn't allowed or something like that. Still, I followed the advice and sat in the dark looking for a light. I didn't find one. The static that surrounded me didn't help. After some thought, I decided to examine the thing that has been looming behind me for what felt like an hour or two. I stood up and turned on my phone light to look at the thing. It was even more disgusting now that I was inches from it. Its face was entirely featureless, apart from 2 pin-sized holes that led to darkness. I could presume those are its eyes. The thing stood there like a statue. It didn't move and it just stared at me, and it lacked the ability to move its neck. However, it must have noticed me looking at its face. It moved. It slowly moved its head down, its neck creaking like old wood as it did so. Finally, it was most certainly looking at me. I stared into those empty, small holes and felt like I was being watched, studied. A dark feeling started to loom in the pit of my stomach as my body entered the fight or flight response. My body's reaction to this thing was incredibly strong, and I felt immense discomfort from being in its immediate presence. Suddenly, without my control, my arm flung up and poked the thing in one of its eye holes. The static grew louder again, causing my body to feel weak. I got to the ground and lay in a fetal position, covering my ears. The static increased until nothing. The thing had gone and the power was back. I was overjoyed. I felt filled with excitement and relief. After a while, I checked the clock. It still read 1:13. I thought about the fact that the power had come back. I didn't understand how or why. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot out from my hand, ran up my arm, and I yelped and looked down. My finger is slightly corroded. The tip of my index finger was almost decayed looking, as if it had been dipped in acid. Must have been from the contact with the thing. The pain wore off, and I decided to head home to plaster it. The streets felt safer now, and the lights were back. On my way back, I saw the thing again. It was far off in the distance, like the first time I saw it, only this time it was shaking slightly. It was almost like it had been reset. Odd. I spent some time reading through more of the comments. A lot of the people mentioned that there are no 7-Elevens in the UK right now. This fact went completely over my head during this time as I visited it. I thought that I should return to the store in search of something useful. My logic was that if it wasn't meant to be there, it might hold something I could use. The store was normal, filled with food and other store items. I checked the back area, and that too was normal until I noticed the bulletin board. On the center of the back wall, there was a large bulletin board covered with notes, photos, and other items. The first photo was of the thing. The photo was labeled as the static sloth and had a note attached to it. It read, "The static is a peculiar-looking creature, only being a torso and featureless head aside from its small holes that is carried around his arms by the end of its sharp points. The thing is all static and controls all phone lines, answering the phone every time you call. It slowly approaches its victim over the course of approximately 1 month before it impales them with its arm. Contact with the static will also cause flesh of the contact area to corrode. Also seems to the rest of the note had been torn off. The other photos were different, of a different creature. I presume they are from the same place. None of them had names apart from the one, I don't even know, the brute. It depicted a large, grotesque-looking beast with a multiple horns, spikes, claws, and even flames out of its flesh. The other 5 photos depicted other creatures. I've decided to stay in this place as it provides what is almost like a safe zone. I need help here. What could the notes mean? Why did the power come back on? Why has the static gone back to its starting point? I should also mention that I'm seeing glimpses of people, like memories or flashbacks. Some look normal and others look like medical staff. Could this mean anything? That's it.
That's a great story.
Somebody said seeking medical personnel. Maybe you're in a coma. That's what you said, Rachel.
Yeah.
You called it.
What do you think, Rob?
I mean, I think someone's got a very vivid imagination.
Yeah, I think so too. Either way, it caught my eye. I was like,
See, I guess my thing is I've always been a skeptic of everything. So when I hear something, I go, "Oh, that's a neat little dramatic effect." You know what I mean? It sounds like somebody writing a story rather than calmly sitting down after all this has happened and writing out all this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of details. There's a lot of details.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the psychology of somebody going through something like that doesn't seem like they'd be as calm as this person appears to be I mean, all these details and, oh, my finger was corroded. And then I went to you know what I mean? It's like all of these things. So I think of it that way. And then I go, oh, that's just an interesting story. You know,
it was an interesting story.
See, the one that I'm gonna read is one that just made me go, like, okay, it just freaks me out. Just
do you want to go for it?
Where it's,
you want to read it?
Sure, I'll read it.
Go for it.
Okay, so this is one that I found. This is from 8 years ago.
Ooh, that's an old one.
Yeah, but it's one that it keeps being. What's weird is it keeps being referenced. It's so famous in No Sleep that it keeps being referenced, and then it's referenced on other subreddits. Because
Ooh.
I didn't even know about No Sleep until I read this. Anyway, so the way that it's written is a little different. So I'm going to read you what he does is he tells a couple of different stories about things that he's experienced, supposedly.
Okay.
So I'm going to read you the first one, and then I'm going to read you the last one. Because the last one's the one that got my imagination just flying.
Okay.
So here we go. I'm a search and rescue officer for the U.S. Forest Service. I have some stories to tell. Okay. I wasn't
Aliens.
sure. Huh?
I'm sorry.
Would you say aliens?
I said aliens.
Well, just, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't sure where else to post these stories, so I figured I'd share them here. I've been an SAR officer for a few years now, and along the way, I've seen some things that I think you guys will be interested in. I like the way that it's just written sort of like nonchalant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So even if it is fake, it's kind of, anyway, I'll stop. I'll just read. So here's story one. I have a pretty good track record for finding missing people. Most of the time, they just wander off the path or slip down a small cliff and they can't find their way back. The majority of them have heard the old stay where you are thing, and they don't wander far. But I've had 2 cases where that didn't happen. Both bother me a lot, and I use them as motivation to search even harder on the missing person cases I get called on. The first was a little boy who was out berry picking with his parents. He and his sister were together, and both of them went missing around the same time. Their parents lost sight of them for a few seconds, and in that time, both the kids apparently wandered off. When their parents couldn't find them, they called us, and we came out to search the area. We found the daughter pretty quickly, and when we asked where her brother was, she told us that he'd been taken away by the bear man. She said he gave her berries and told her to stay quiet, that he wanted to play with her brother for a while. The last she saw of her brother, he was riding on the shoulders of the bear man and seemed calm. Of course, our first thought was abduction, but we never found a trace of another human being in that area. The little girl was also insistent that he wasn't a normal man, but that he was tall and covered in hair like a bear, and that he had a weird face. We searched that area for weeks. It was one of the longest calls I've ever been on, but we never found a single trace of that kid. The other was a young woman who was out hiking with her mom and grandpa. According to the mother, her daughter had climbed up a tree to get a better view of the forest, and she'd never come back down. They waited at the base of the tree for hours, calling her name before they called for help. Again, we searched everywhere, and we never found a trace of her. I have no idea where she could have possibly have gone, because neither her mother or grandpa saw her come down. So that's the first story. And you're just
Bigfoot.
like,
Harry and the
okay.
Hendersons.
Yeah, Harry and the Hendersons, exactly. But this one is the one, and again, this goes over multiple threads. Okay, he just keeps telling stories, and I'm like, okay, this got a bunch of attention, so he's going to write some more, whatever. All I know is this is the one that got my imagination going. Whew. All right, this is the last one I'll tell, and it's probably the weirdest story I have. Now, I don't know if this is true in every SAR unit, but in mine, it's sort of an unspoken regular thing we run into. You can try asking about it with other SAR officers, but even if they know what you're talking about, they probably won't say anything about it. We've been told not to talk about it by our superiors, and at this point, we've all gotten so used to it that it doesn't even seem weird anymore. On just about every case, when we're really far into the wilderness, I'm talking 30 or 40 miles, at some point, we'll find a staircase in the middle of the woods. It's almost like if you took the stairs in your house, cut them out, and put them in the forest. I asked about it the first time I saw some, and the other officer just told me not to worry about it, that it was normal. Everyone I asked said the same thing. I wanted to go check them out, but I was told very emphatically that I should never go near any of them. I just sort of ignore them now when I run into them because it happens so frequently.
There is a thing to this, that there are random stairs in like forests and stuff like this, and it's like super bad luck
There's
to
pictures.
go up these steps. That's messed up. Wouldn't you die? Seriously, you're in like this random like forest or something, and there's this set of steps there.
I mean, the first thing that I would think would be like back
Take
in the
selfies
war.
with it.
You say back in the war?
In the war, yeah. Like it's something from the war.
Well,
No, these are like regular staircases.
Yeah, they said. Let's see. There's somebody. Let me see if I can find.
What is the saying that it's? What is it when you're not supposed to go up them because something happens? I can't.
This says, this one guy says, I'm from New England and have spent a lot of time hunting in New Hampshire and can confirm there are foundations, wells, graveyards, and other structures all over the woods. It's interesting because a huge number of the graves appear to be cared for on a regular basis. One thing that struck me when traveling in Montana was the number of cabins and slash shacks, wow, that were built 100 plus years ago, abandoned and haven't been touched since, but are otherwise in plain sight from the road. So it's just like, the way that I look at it, I mean, again, I'm a skeptic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, okay, a house was built and it's built with, some sort of with brick or metal or whatever they've used. The house burns down, and a lot of times you'll see just a fireplace and
Yes.
some other fixtures.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was thinking, is that it could be like a staircase. The staircase could just be there after a fire or whatever, and it's the only thing left of the house.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, and I'm like I said, I'm a huge skeptic, but I'm also very, very aware that I don't know everything, and that there's no way that there's so many different stories that are unexplained. I mean, of course, all the recent UFO/UAP stuff. I mean, there's just a lot I don't know. So I try to just keep my mind open and try to just listen to the story. But then at the same time, I'm putting it through a filter going, okay, is this sound made up or not?
Right.
This one, again, the way that it's written in a way that's just like, hey, here's some
It's
stuff that
interesting.
happened.
It sounds believable.
Right. And
if you guys Google like staircases in the forest and go to images, you will see all kinds of random places with staircases.
I went down a crazy rabbit hole after reading this the first time. This was probably 2-3 years ago when I found this. And I read for like, I don't know, a couple of days. I was reading different stories about stuff, from these comments pointing you to other things. And I'm just reading about all that stuff. And it got my imagination going, because I'm like, that could make a cool story movie, like a little, some kind of way that you could put that in a movie and it could be cool,
How come that hasn't been done? And we need to find this guy. Maybe we can get him on one of our shows.
I don't know. It's from 8 years ago. I wonder if he's still. Let's see.
What's scary though is that there are a lot of people. I don't know what the statistics are right now, but there are a lot of people that go missing in the woods or forests.
Oh, see, okay. See, this is one of those things where when you start digging, you start to get a little messed. You kind of go, okay, is this? He wrote the same commenter, OP, the original poster, wrote 1 day ago, and he's begging for money. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay,
that's disappointing.
I don't know. I mean,
maybe he doesn't have money anymore because he's outed all the secrets.
He's been sued.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of starts making me go, okay, is this real? Final update was posted. Okay, the final thing that he posted was 8 years ago. I'm sorry, that's not true. How is this sorted?
I don't know the organization. Like, I don't know how they organize it.
Yeah, I mean, there's 8 parts to that guy's post history. So there's just a lot. But like I said, the way that it was written, whether it's real or not, I liked it. So
yeah,
there you go.
I'm just gonna say, like, so there was like this 3-hour hearing on aliens and UFOs, and nobody's talking about it. I'm just saying, no one
knows about it.
No one seems to care. No one seems to care.
I got up early for me, because I'm a night owl kind of person. I like being up at night. I got up early so I could watch it, and I watched the entire thing. And the whole time I'm going, this is okay. I mean, look, I don't want to derail the show or anything, but
you're good.
Huge. It's huge for not only the government to be taking it seriously, but all of those different stories that I've seen in multiple documentaries that I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. No, it's on the record now.
Yeah.
These guys can be, especially the guy in the middle. Grush, I think is his name.
Yeah.
That guy's a former intelligence officer. And if he's lying, he can be put in jail.
Yeah, he's got crazy eyes too. Me and my sister
Yeah.
were talking about it.
Does he?
Crazy eyes, like he's seen some stuff.
I was like, I want to see more of that guy. So what I did was, after it was all over, I went and watched his full interview on News Nation, I think,
Yeah.
which I don't even know if that's a valid or if it's a popular news thing. I'm not a news guy, but
I don't
I
know.
watched the whole thing. It's like 45 minutes. I watched the whole thing, and I'm like, okay, he basically expanded a little bit on some of the stuff, some of the little things that he mentioned in that. I loved it. I was like, this is amazing. And then supposedly yesterday there's already some like new laws around it that Congress is already starting to push through.
You know, I've always figured this was a thing, like for real. But part of me is wondering, like, is this a distraction? Are they saying, hey, look over there? Because stuff's going on over here.
Well, if that's the case, then it's not working.
It's not working at all because no
Right.
one really cares.
Right.
Because we're all like, aliens.
See,
We'll help
the
you
thing-
throw our leader out.
I think the thing that irritates me is that a lot of people are saying, like, oh, they didn't say anything new. I'm like, okay,
Yes, they
you
did.
have to understand something. It's on the record.
It's on the
It's in
record.
I mean, this is part of governmental history now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, I mean, regardless of whether, you believe they're aliens or whatever, non-human entities
Yeah.
or whatever non-human intelligence
Mm-hmm.
fascinates me.
Yes.
Because he's basically alluding to that there's another dimension on top of ours that we can't see. They may be human, but they're not from here.
Right.
And it's like, okay,
I want to see a UFO. Can I experience this? It's going to be terrifying, but I would like to see it.
I want to see, yeah, for sure.
The
For
stuff
sure.
that they were saying, like, would this indicate, again, back to missing people, but would it be an explanation for all these missing people?
They
we
didn't say
can't
that, but
find?
they did confirm like the pilots of these UFOs are not human. They're not of this world. The crafts are not of this world.
I mean, to me, that is a very plausible possibility, I think. Because, I mean, how does that happen? That
Maybe.
people just go missing, you don't see them ever again.
I don't know, man.
There's
Wild.
so much to that. And I think part of the reason why it's been hidden is because if it is true that we've been visited by extraterrestrials or whatever, it can shake a lot of foundations of religion.
Mm-hmm.
It can shake, I mean, it can shake the world up a lot. And
Oh, yeah.
There's
don't
so
know.
many conspiracies around this subject anyway. Like, you know how when you grow up and you learn in school, like you can never go to Antarctica, it's too cold, nothing's there, blah, blah, blah. Why? Maybe everything's there.
Metallica played in Antarctica.
There's a section of Antarctica that you can visit, but there are some places you cannot.
Do you remember the guy, the movie Fire in the Sky?
Yeah.
Like that guy, like people said he was crazy, but like, why would he all these years? Like, I don't even know if he's still alive, but why would he just make that up?
People
It was a
I don't
group of
know.
lumberjacks, actually, wasn't it?
say that again.
Wasn't it a group of lumberjacks?
I think so. I mean, I saw the
I think I
movie.
saw this on something, like on a documentary or like a paranormal show or something.
Well,
Yeah.
it was funny when Billy and I went to California for one of these conventions, and on the way back we drove through that town and saw
You
the phone booth where he called, where
That's
he-
so cool.
yeah, so it was like I mean, it's neat, and we drove through Roswell as well,
Oh, fun.
but I mean, it's just
What
touristy.
what was that mountain or hill or whatever it was that Billy was standing up on top of twerking, and you were like way down on the road? How can you explain that to me?
It was
It's so far away.
it looks bigger and it looks further away than it was. I was in the median, so
You gotta be careful in the road.
there was barely anybody on the road. I just ran across, and I just like the fact that it looks like a normal. Oh, look at this, and then
It looks like he spent a day hiking up there to get to
No.
that point.
Oh my God.
it's not that far, and it was we'd been talking. We'd actually talked about it before because I actually flew out, and then he drove out there.
Yeah,
right.
because you
But he was
guys.
driving out earlier and he was staying in New Mexico or wherever he was staying. So I flew out, but we had talked about it before he left. He's like, dude, we gotta we gotta do this thing and just do another because we joke about it all the time.
That was right
Like,
after
wouldn't it be-
Retropalooza.
Huh?
That was like a weekend or two after Retropalooza when
Yeah,
you guys drove out there.
Yeah. Well, we've been out there a couple of times.
Was it SoCal?
Yeah.
Huh.
I can't remember when they all run together, you know. Luckily we're on a break, we're not doing it very often. But anyway, yeah, it looks further than it actually is, but it is funny.
You
But
have
no,
to
I
set
mean,
up
like,
set up the scene so Nyoka can imagine it.
I need to see it.
Yeah.
You're talking about the twerking?
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
the way
so-
you're like panning the camera and stuff.
Yeah, so it's in I think this was in New Mexico, I think. And it's it's a one of those highways you've seen where it goes off forever, right? But there were some cool mountains in the, and I'm basically looking at the mountain, and then if you can imagine, so here's the road, which is, parallel to me, right? And I'm looking at like 10 o'clock. I'm trying to do this for your listeners too. So I'm looking at like 10 o'clock. Billy is at like 4 o'clock on this hill. And so what I do is I start at 10 o'clock and I start panning. So because it looks like your typical, oh, look at the mountains and look at the scenery or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when I get to Billy, I zoom in real fast on him up there twerking on the top of this hill. And it looks like it's it looks the way that it looks like it's way up there. It's really not.
Amazing.
It looks so far.
But
That's amazing.
we've done that multiple times in Game Chasers videos where, I'll be doing, the kind of shots where, it's like, oh, we're looking at this shelf, and how like they're talking, it's voiceover, but you're seeing, what product they have, and the camera's panning or whatever. And
Yeah.
he'll do that multiple times where he's over here twerking and I'm doing this, and then when I see him, I like, and it's just funny to cut to, and it's
That's
just
great.
It makes the videos fun. And honestly, it's like the last video that went out yesterday.
Yeah.
That was an all day thing.
You guys were so hot. You could tell because your faces were so red.
Yeah. But that was an all day thing, and it cut down to 25 minutes,
Ugh.
So it's just some of that stuff, and you have to find the fun,
Yeah.
and the funny stuff,
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
But anyway,
I
Yeah.
love that. You guys always have fun, it seems like.
oh yeah, we're trying.
Rachel, it's your turn. Which one you want?
You just pick one.
She says, you just pick one, and then she points to one.
I told her
Oh,
what
it
to
was
pick.
deleted. That one was deleted.
Well, shit.
Well, let's go. Let's go to this one.
Mine are like unsolved mystery kind of things.
There you go, girlfriend.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
What is this one from? Like, where's the little...
Unresolved mysteries.
So this was posted about 7 days ago from whatever today's date is, or last week's date. Inspiration is my key. Stop distracting me.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Over 9 months ago, Hannah Rose Walker was found floating naked in a shallow creek near Trout Lake. Is that Washington? She was reported missing by Jeremy Gaylord, age 67. Hannah had DNA under both sets of fingernails, and semen was detected somewhere on her body. She also had bruises, contusions, and scrapes on her body. She was barefooted, no shoes. Oh, no shoes were recovered at the scene. Boot prints were photographed next to Hannah's swimsuit. Okay, so it sounds like she was like out on the beach. The county sheriff's office investigated the case as a homicide, but then abruptly stopped. Coincidentally, they stopped investigating around the time of the local elections. Oh, Hannah's family has hired lawyers to help in the process of seeking justice for Hannah, but to no avail. They are now taking the case to the media.
I've never heard of this case.
Me neither. can you provide more info about Hannah's life circumstances? Who is Jeremy to Hannah? What was going on with her leading up to the date of the murder?
It's hard to give feedback on this when I don't know the story, though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She was 31 years old. We'll have to look more into her story.
You got nothing?
We can just go on to the next one.
I got a lighthearted one.
Yeah, that was pretty dark.
That was dark.
We should probably just cut that whole piece out. Bring the mood down.
Well, I didn't know this was a subreddit, and then when I found it, I was like, this is great. So it's Petty Revenge. Not that I recommend,
This is what we're
but
talking about.
Petty Revenge. This is really just not anything really evil related, but it's titled "I Caught My Partner Cheating, so I Covered His Whole House in Glitter." So it says that's literally it. I caught him cheating by looking through his trash, literally, laugh out loud, emails, and found some pretty graphic emails from the other woman. Confirmed he was with her that day through his Google Maps tracking. So I got every bit of loose glitter I owned, and I went to his house and scattered it. Scattered it in his bed, his couch, his chairs, his toilets, his clothes, his iron flat top stove. I know I'll be okay and I'm going to heal, but guess who probably won't ever be able to fully get rid of all the glitter?
That's a pretty good getting back at it.
I think it's genius. There's nothing more annoying than glitter.
I hate glitter with a passion. But I'm also not a cheater, so I guess I'm safe.
Yeah. Somebody said they make pepper spray that has glitter in it. I didn't know that. The idea is you can track down the perpetrator months later if you can find the clothes he was wearing. And even in the wash, glitter doesn't completely come out of the textiles. Gets lodged in the fibers.
That's like those scammers that they do like the glitter bombs where they open up the package and it's just a big glitter bomb.
Yeah.
It's just evil, and I like it.
Right?
It's
That's great.
But I mean, it seems like a lot of that stuff was because of people stealing packages off their porch. So then they said, okay, you're going to steal a package from my porch. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get that. You know, that makes makes sense. But
do you get a lot of those stupid calls where you live, like about Medicare or whatever, Medicaid?
Funny story. I have a landline, but you can't call into it.
What?
Okay, so the only reason we have it is for our security system, right? So the security system can call out, right? Well, I don't know what happened, and I don't want them to fix it because I like the fact that I don't get house calls, because the only people that called me on the house were, you know, the kind of thing, you know, scams or
Yeah.
you know, hey, we know you have money, so you want to give money to the blah blah blah, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I hated that. So we changed our plan, and in them changing our plan, for whatever reason, we can't get calls anymore. So if you call my phone number, it just goes, it's a busy signal. That's it. But I can call out.
That's
it's
weird.
so weird. So yeah, I don't get a whole lot of them because I have it on I have an iPhone, right? And in there you can block block unknown numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like
So
spam,
they go straight to
potential
voicemail.
spam.
Yeah. But so I don't get a lot of them, and I'm one of those where I'm not witty enough to come up with funny stuff just on the fly to mess with these people. So
I do.
I can't.
Oh, I
don't
do.
know.
And I
start
didn't
laughing.
know. There was one day I did it at work, and I didn't know my coworker was listening to me because this is like a normal personality trait of mine. So I had someone call, and they were trying to get me to go back to school. And I pretended to be an old man, and I was like, honey, I'm 74 years old, and I don't think I'll be going back to school anytime soon. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry to bother you. And the phone, I hung it up, and my coworker across the way started laughing at me. Like, I didn't know I had an audience. I was just playing, but it was fun.
It was pretty great.
I have a good time.
This was okay. So this was a while back, but when I was working for the fruit company, okay, my boss, was you know, we were you know, having a one-on-one kind of meeting or whatever, and And just in the middle of the meeting, his phone rings and it's one of these scammers. And he puts it on speakerphone and is messing with this person while I'm sitting there trying not to laugh. And it was one of those where they're trying to get you to basically give control over your computer, but he's acting like an old person that doesn't know anything about computers, and he keeps telling him wrong stuff. So the person is trying to get him to do Windows stuff, but he's on a Mac, and he's doing everything. Well, I did that, and then this came up, and he messed with him for like 20 minutes. And so I'm just sitting there just like, I can't believe he's not only not doing the thing that's going to, make the guy get any money or whatever from him, but he's keeping him on the phone for like a crazy amount of time. And it was great. And I'm like, I can't do that. I'll just start laughing. I can't come up with stuff that fast. It was one of the things that I couldn't understand about the old podcast guys. Those guys could do it. I mean, because we did a bunch of prank calls back then. And it's just like, I don't understand how you guys do it.
I will carry conversations with scammers for days on Facebook. When they hack your friend and they'll like message you and stuff.
Send me the code.
I will keep this up for days.
Oh my God.
I will screenshot it and post it on my Facebook for everyone to read.
That the dude ended up and was like, I think I love you. Like,
oh yeah,
awesome.
I made him fall in love with me, and he confessed. He confessed to being a scammer and told me his name, and it was great.
You'll have to like send him screenshots or something.
Yeah, I have them saved. And that went on for days. It was so good. Crazy. It was so
I've just never been able to do that. I don't know.
I don't know why I do what I do. I just it's like entertainment for me. And I am patient. I am patient with it. And I will do this for days at a time.
Patience.
Yeah, maybe I just don't have the patience for that. I don't know.
And my Rob looked at me. Here I am. I got him to confess that he's like in love with me and tells me his name. And my Rob looks at me. Are you done yet? Are you done? Yeah, I'm done now, I think. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I loved it. But I'm going to keep on the glitter thing because there was another thing on Petty Revenge with glitter. So I'm going to give it that. This one says, he told me to do something about it. So I sent him a glitter bomb. Trigger warning. Okay, so I hope this story isn't too serious for the subreddit, but I'm feeling a bit delicious and petty, and I wanted to share. This story also reveals a bit of my unhingedness. Also, trigger warning for sexual assault. Okay, so many years ago, I was assaulted repeatedly by someone who I thought was my friend. I was underage. He was not. Details. I'm connected to a good support system. I'm working through it. Still pretty pissed, though. Anyways, I went no contact with him approximately 6 years ago. I know I have a few screws loose, but I recently created an anonymous social media account, creeped on his profile, and saw that he is married and living a wonderful life. I commented with my fake account something along the lines of, "Name is a rapist." He wrote back saying, "I'm a coward and a liar, and why don't I do something about it?" So I mailed a glitter bomb to his house and paid for 3 times the glitter. I included a note calling him a rapist, POS, just so he's not confused.
Good for you, girl.
Wow.
Yeah, that was good.
It's amazing how some of those people can just get away with it for so long.
Somebody said, "You petty mother effer, I like you." Hopefully it was a glitter bomb that also released fart spray. That's all the glitter stories I have. I had to, though. I mean, covering somebody's whole house in glitter, I don't know. I don't know. So there was one that was kind of wild, too. This one's from No Sleep as well. No Sleep must be a wild subreddit. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if these stories are real on this or not, but this one I found interesting, too. And it's titled, "A School Bus Picked Up My Kid 4 days ago." And this was posted 2 days ago. "A school bus picked up my kid 4 days ago. After he was gone, I just went about my day like I always do. When school was over, I waited at the end of our driveway, but a school bus never came. When I called the school, they said my son had never arrived. He got on the bus, I told them. There was silence. We don't doubt that he got on a bus, they told me, but it wasn't one of ours. When I started freaking out, they told me I wasn't alone. The same thing had happened to 18 other children this morning, and the police were on top of it. When I asked what they meant, they simply said they're working on it. They know. I kept going back to the morning, trying to remember something, anything, but the same things that I remember are the reason I wasn't paying attention. The bus was yellow. It was long. It had wheels. What am I supposed to remember about a bus? The thing pulls up and you kiss your kid and that's that. 5 times a week and the routine gets so redundant, a submarine might have pulled up and I'm not sure I would have noticed. 3 days ago, the parents of the missing kids got together at the rec center to put their heads together and support each other and grieve. Everyone was crying and rerunning the theories they have for days. Some of them are absolutely batshit. There wasn't any complicated thread connecting the kids, really. They were all in elementary school and lived in the same neighborhood, and that was about it. Some people think the school is covering something up, or maybe the bus company, but all the drivers are accounted for, and the school's got nothing to gain. Everyone local knows that about it already, and some parents are keeping their kids home until this is figured out. 2 days ago, the parents received something in their mailbox. It must have come in the normal mail. In a little white envelope, there was a drawing from their child. All were of school buses exploring something different: the edge of a cliff, the bottom of a sea, a barn on fire, the thickest, blackest woods. On the back of the drawings, written in cursive, was the same black handwriting, neat as a crew cut. It's just a little trip, it said. Yesterday, halfway to California, the police are saying they found a field with 18 scarecrows. Each was wearing our children's clothes. At the edge of the field, scratched in the mud in big letters, were the lyrics: "The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round all the way, ... question mark." This morning, I'm standing on the curb, and I picked up smoking again, and I'm waiting for the bus to come back. I've done it every day, of course, in the morning and after school. Every day, I'm twice as terrified as the last. I hear the diesel, and the bus comes rolling around the corner. The bus is yellow. The bus is long. The bus has wheels. The bus has children, but none of them are mine. And that's it.
Wow.
Another interesting story.
Well, see, that one, the only thing I will say is, again, supposedly 4 days before, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of detail for somebody who's supposedly so shaken up about their kid being gone. Just saying.
I wouldn't be on Reddit.
And to be able to tie the end, end it with a, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like, look, it could happen, I guess, but I'm just saying that's the only thing I'll say. And see, I guess I'm the skeptic on this show, because I'm like, yeah, I
don't believe
feel like that was a really
one.
well written
story. I do too. Like, there's a comment that says, "I'm sorry for the loss of your kid and other children, OP. I pray that whoever kidnapped them will pay the price and face justice." Reading this just made me more overprotective towards my little sister, and OP responded, "Thank you."
I'm just thinking, seriously, though, like, if your kid's missing, why would you come on here and do a story? That would be the last thing I would think of to do.
I know. But these stories are interesting. I would read the book if it was a book, right? I mean, that's why it caught my attention. Anyway.
You know what I'm saying, though. It's like, I don't
think it's real either.
I go, man, that's interesting. But
yeah.
Just it's how I roll.
It's a lot going on. Let's see what else I have here. Do you want to try another one of yours? Or...
No, because all mine are sad.
She's like, no.
And I only had the one, like I said, the one creepy one.
Yeah, all mine are like unsolved murders.
Here's another petty revenge. Let's do this one. It's titled, "My homeless dad used me in his money scheme, so I took it all." Okay, so the homeless guy is technically my dad. My dad was only in my life actively from ages 0 through 7, and in that time gave me a shit ton of trauma. He was a hardcore alcoholic manipulator and a lot of other things I can't say. My mom, being the badass she is, left him, and for a short bit, we did weekends over at his place. It was a never ending cycle of him drinking, being a piece of shit, and then buying us over with animals and gifts. After getting several DUIs, unpaid child support, and a few child endangerment cases, he up and left to avoid going to jail, like disappeared. Left the animals locked in the house, and he abandoned and shut off his phone. Every few months or so, he would randomly show up at my school drunk and crying with gifts in his hand or leave notes on our door. My school literally had to implement a safety plan because my mom was scared he would take me. That stopped and didn't hear from him for about 13 years. When I was 20, he messaged me on Facebook saying he would love to get to know me and asking if there's anything I need financially. My initial response, sick to my stomach and crying, quickly turned to anger. I was broke and could really use some money. And I mean, he owed me, right? I told him I would meet and needed money. I would meet him and needed money for rent. When I saw him, my stomach turned. He looked like a crazy guy you see on the side of the road begging for money. He really didn't make much sense, just talked a lot of shit about my mom, saying she was a liar and turned us against him and mumbling nonsense. Apparently, his brother, my uncle that I never had a relationship with, would no longer give him money, but would wire transfer him money for me. He told his brother I needed $1,500 and told me that he would take $500 and give me $1,000. His crappy burner phone ran out of minutes, so one of his calls to his brother was made from my phone. Of course, he didn't have an ID or anything, so I would need to pick it up with him. When someone wires you money, they get a code and then you give the code and you get the money. My dad wouldn't give me the code until we were physically at the place to pick it up, which we planned on doing the next morning. The next morning, I decided to text my uncle since now I had his number and ask him directly for the code. I got the code, picked up the money, and blocked my piece of shit dad. He made sure to leave me some deranged voicemails about how big of a piece of shit I am. He pretty much used me to get money from his brother. If he really wanted to be in my life, he would have taken the proper steps to do so and change, but he never did. Not denying what I did was shitty, but also F my dad. Edit. My uncle does well financially and obviously was fine with sending me money, which at the time I definitely needed. I saw a few comments saying I helped scam my uncle, which I just don't get. He thought he was sending money to go to me and help me out. The money went to me and helped me out. And of course, I thanked him. And there was another edit. Side note, since people are asking, the animals were rescued as soon as we realized he was gone. Poor baby suffered a lot from him, and they were also alone for days, but they were alive. Last edit, hopefully. It's a wire transfer, not like Venmo or Zelle. It's Western Union. Unless they have changed how you do it now, that is how it's done. I see, good for him.
Yeah.
I think that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I should have brought some cool alien stories or something. Because that's the stuff that it's weird. Like with the alien stuff, there's so much noise out there. You don't know what's real and what's not.
Right? It's so good.
But
Do
I
have-
really
Do you have any stories, like you yourself? Like, have you seen anything like scary or weird?
No, I haven't. And there's it just makes me wonder because there've been times when I go, wait, was that no, that was this. You know what I mean? And I figure out what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wonder how many people don't have the ability to try to make sense of what they've seen. You know,
True.
like some stuff, I mean, especially the way that some of these stories, you know, come out, you're like, I don't know how I would explain that away either. But like there's stuff that, like, I remember, I thought that I saw one when I was in my teens. I don't remember when, but I was in the country. I was looking up and I saw something that was way up there, and I saw it moving, and I'm like, what is that? And it was moving fast, and it turns out it was a satellite.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I saw that. And then there were some things where it was like, you know, it's like sometimes it's like a weird reflection or something, and then like oh my gosh, it looks like there's something floating over there, and then you come around this curve and you're, oh, that's a mountain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a light on top of a mountain, but you couldn't see the mountain because of the way that like fog or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's like that's the kind of thing where it's like how much of that is people getting it wrong, and then how much of it's real? I don't know.
Exactly. I love that
Like
kind
the-
of stuff.
I saw a really cool one the other day, and I was like, okay, I don't know what that is. And then somebody down below, in the comments was like, yeah, that's when the SpaceX rocket with the separation, that's what the separation looks like. So it was this weird thing
Oh.
that happened. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah.
saw it from way far away, so it looked weird. But that was the SpaceX rocket, when it.
Nice.
And I'm like, okay,
That's
okay,
cool to see too, though. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was sitting there going, what is that?
I
And
would
then the
I would be
space
the
shuttle-
same way. Oh my god, am I seeing a UFO?
When the space shuttle would re-enter, it would go across the southern sky where I was, because it was going. Where did they land? They landed in Florida, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's
So
where NASA was, right?
if it was the right time of day and all that kind of stuff, you could
Mhm.
see it from where I live in Central Texas, and you could see it going across the sky really fast, and it looks like a huge meteor, but it's, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
on fire basically, and it's so cool looking. And it's like,
Wow.
I'm sure there's plenty of people that saw that was like, what is that? You know what I mean?
Oh
Not
yeah.
knowing
It's kind of like the Las Vegas thing.
the Vegas thing.
Yeah, like where these people were like outside and there was a young he was probably like 16, 17 and he saw something.
Oh,
Yeah.
it crashed in his backyard.
Yeah.
That one.
And then supposedly there was an 8-foot creature in the
Yeah.
yard.
Yeah, there was body cam footage, but then it
Yes.
cuts out as soon as they go to the backyard because it's private property. I don't know.
There's that, and I think that's the biggest thing about that, like that hearing the other day. I keep going back to it. I'm sorry,
No,
but
you're fine.
that there's going to be hopefully a lot of footage come out from that.
I hope
And-
so.
And it's going to be the kind of footage that makes even the biggest skeptic go, "Oh, okay, that is all right." There's going to be people that no matter what anybody says, they're going to say, yeah, that's not real, and that's made up, and that's just CG, and oh, they're trying to, distract us from this or whatever. And I'm like, this is like bigger than Earth problems kind of stuff. This is the
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of thing that could move humanity forward. So this is the kind of stuff that
And no
I'm
one's
interested
talking
in.
about it. No one's talking about it. That's
Well,
what blows my mind. No one
I-
cares.
I think a lot of it is just that people, unless it's staring at them right in the face, they can't see it.
Yeah.
Is it
And
on
it
Entertainment
doesn't-
Tonight?
Do what?
Is it
Is
is it on Entertainment Tonight?
Not
Entertainment
yet.
Tonight?
What?
I said not yet.
You remember that show?
Is that not
Entertainment
a show
Tonight, yeah.
anymore? I don't even know.
Is it on?
I
is it
don't
still on?
know. Is it?
I don't even know. I don't have TV anymore. I just have streaming.
That's
Yeah,
why
me
none
too.
of us know.
I don't even know what a commercial is anymore.
I remember watching that because I remember when Judas Priest, they got accused of subliminal messages in
Oh,
their
yeah.
music. And those two boys,
Breaking the law. I'm sorry, I had to.
two boys committed suicide, tried one lived, but they put them on trial for subliminal messages.
They always have done that.
It was on
with
Entertainment
bands.
Tonight, Nayoka. That's the point.
My
It's-
God.
But that's old people that don't, seriously, what financial sense does it make for an artist to want their audience dead?
For real.
Right.
Yeah,
That doesn't make sense.
that's just dumb.
No.
That's from Bill Hicks, by the way. Bill Hicks.
Bill Hicks. Who's Bill Hicks?
He was a comedian. He died in 94. He's like my favorite comedian ever, but he made a
maybe
joke
that's
about that.
where maybe that's where I heard the name.
Bill
you
Hicks.
might have been you might have been 'cause-
I talk about him all the time. I seriously, he's in a lot of ways, he's like the kind of comedian that I kind of wished that I could have been, or as funny, like the kind of stuff where, you're sitting there and you're laughing, you're having a good time. And then later on you're like, maybe he's got a point,
yeah.
that's the kind of humor that I like, so he was amazing. But
Yeah.
I mean, he's all over the internet. You can find clips of him and stuff if you're interested. But Bill Hicks was the man. Like,
I really like Matt Rife, but he cost $1 million to see in person, so I couldn't get a ticket.
Yeah, I
That made me
guarantee you,
sad.
even back then, nobody knew who Bill Hicks was. He was one of those people that just for whatever reason he never blew up in America, but he blew up in the UK, and they loved him. They thought he was amazing, but he never really got that hold in the US until he died, which is really
Oh,
a shame.
Yeah, that is sad.
that's like
Yeah.
Josh Blue. I don't know why Josh Blue isn't bigger than he is.
I don't know who that is.
He has cerebral palsy, but he does these jokes.
Oh, he's like a younger guy. I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
he's
I'm
got
not good
the
with names.
Curly hair, it's
Yeah.
so long.
Yeah.
He incorporates that into his act, but
Right.
he's just a funny dude.
All right. Are we ready for some more?
Sure.
Yeah. Let's do it. This one came from Let's Not Meet. And it's titled My Dog Alerted Me to Something at My Window. Do you want to read any of these?
You're fine.
Okay.
We've already proved why it's not a good idea.
When I was 17, my bedroom had a window looking out of the backyard. My backyard was fenced in, but on the other side of the fence were some woods and a retention pond. I've never been scared of this and kept the blinds open so that when the sun rose in the morning, the natural light would help wake me up. One night, I was up late on my phone with my dog laying in bed next to me. At around 2 a.m., my dog jumped up and started barking at the window. At first, I thought he was just barking at his reflection, and I told him to stop. But then I realized he was looking at the left side of the window while his reflection was on the right. I couldn't see outside the window because I had left my lamp on my nightstand. All I could see in the window was the reflection of my bedroom. Not wanting to alert whatever might be out there that I was scared, I faked a yawn, set my phone aside, and turned off my lamp. I then lay down facing the window, and I swear I saw a set of human eyes looking back at me from the left side of the window.
That is the worst fear.
I drank a lot of water at night, so I had an empty bottle on my nightstand. I grabbed it and pretended to just realize it was empty. I turned on the lamp and acted like I was going to go get water. I went to my parents' room and my dad told me not to worry. We had these motion activated floodlights and if they hadn't turned on, so there's no way nothing was out there. I went back to my room and I told myself I was just seeing things. I closed the blinds and I turned on the lamp and I got sleep. When I woke up in the morning, I went to take my dog out and decided to check out the pine straw bedding underneath my window. It was visibly disturbed. I did my best to ignore that and remember what my dad said about the floodlights. That worked pretty well until my dad tested the floodlights later that day and found out the bulbs have actually burned out. To this day, I keep my blinds closed and my lamp off when I sleep. And I don't want to risk anything being able to see me or anything is somehow peeking through my window. I want to know it's there. If there was someone at my window that night, let's not meet. Edit. Hey, I just wanted to say thanks to everyone that commented. I typed this out because a project I've been working on caused this memory to resurface. Sometimes just writing something like this down and chucking it into the void helps me deal with it. I'm 22 now, so I'm far enough removed from it that I can mostly look at it as a weird experience I had. And there is definitely a degree of paranoia left from this and other things I've dealt with. To anyone who has had a similar experience, I hope everything turned out okay and that you're doing well. I've interacted with a few of you in the comments, and you all seem to be like strong people. To anyone who does this peeking through the windows, fuck off.
That is pretty creepy.
That is creepy.
Do you keep your blinds and curtains closed all the time?
Yes.
Me too.
Well, not all the time. If it's not 7,000 degrees like it is right now,
Yeah.
we'll open them during the day,
Yeah.
but other than that, no, we keep them closed.
One time, it was when we moved into the house where we live now. Gary and I were laying on the bed just talking. It was still moving in, so we're discussing where to put things or whatever. And the guy next door comes knocking on the door, like I don't know how much time was in between there, but he knocks on the door and he's like, I just want to tell you to be careful because that mother trucker was like outside listening to our conversation, laying on the bed. And I mean, it wasn't anything inappropriate. We were just laying there, just talking. And that's just so weird. Who does that? It's so weird.
That is weird. So I figured I'll read one more and then we'll switch to I'll move it to the Patreon for the rest
Okay.
of our stuff.
Are you still good on time?
Are you good on
Okay.
time? Are you in a
Yeah.
hurry? Okay.
I'm good.
Awesome. So this one is kind of a darker one to end with because, we are a true crime podcast. We got to do that.
And this could kind of relate to us.
Yeah. So this one's true off my chest, and it's called My Fear of Death is Ruining My Life. So recently I've been having terrible death anxiety since the death of my late grandmother. I've been thinking a lot about the universe and how in retrospect, we're just specks in the universe and that we're not special in any shape or form. I don't know what to believe. I'm truly desperate. I love my life and I'm scared I won't get to see my loved ones after I go. I get so triggered by the fact the planet is so small and vulnerable. I envy religious people because they have the mentality something is there for them beyond life. But I don't want to say there isn't either. I'm just so confused and tired, and these thoughts are taking over my life. Please, someone help me. Thoughts? I mean, this has been something that's bothered me to the point where I couldn't sleep at night.
I hate it because I have kind of felt that way about not particularly that, but that same kind of feeling. I absolutely hate it that someone feels that way. And you just kind of have to work
death in
through
general.
it. Just that feeling, that heavy feeling, just being scared.
It's I mean, I've faced a little bit of that,
Yeah.
I mean, all of my surgeries and all that stuff and not knowing if I was going to,
Are you done with surgeries, can I ask?
yeah, I'm completely on the other side of it.
Good.
But there was, I mean, it's my brain is different than a lot of people. I am super stoic about things. So when, when they told me, they're like, yeah, I mean, this was like when things first started. I don't want to get too dark here, deep, but
you can if you want to.
I mean, I don't mind. I think this story might help people. I don't know.
It might,
But-
yeah.
But the first initial when, I mean, like my heart rate was like 160 beats per minute, sitting there, so I went to the emergency room and they were like, they did a bunch of tests and all this stuff. And the guy came in there and he says, yeah, we think that you have colon cancer and you're going to have to call everyone, like right now, like, and let them know because yeah. Okay.
So were
And
you
then I'm like, okay, well,
was it like pain and stuff? So you just went to the hospital?
yeah, I mean, it was, abdominal pain and all that kind of stuff. And even through all of the surgeries and stuff, I was very clinical, I guess, about the thought process. But for me, it was, a lot of it was just knowing that none of these doctors are trying to kill me, and if I don't survive, then that's just the way things go. But if I do survive, then I gotta move, let's do it. I mean, the first thing they told me after my first 3 surgeries, right,
Mhm.
in 3 weeks, it went from 185 pounds down to 135 pounds in 3 weeks. I was real close. Okay.
Was A with you the whole time?
Say again?
I don't know if you want to say her name.
Yeah.
The
Well,
whole
actually,
time?
she was actually in another country, which is funny for her job.
Like when you first
So-
went to the hospital?
Yeah.
Oh no.
And so she the thing is everybody kept telling her, everything's fine, and then something bad would happen. And then she's like, okay, I'm coming home, So she finally came home and I was in recovery and they told me, yeah, you can eat and you can eat stuff or whatever. And she gives me a call and is like, hey, what do you want to eat? And I'm like, I want this and this. And she's in the drive-through when the doctor comes in and says, we need to take you into emergency surgery right now. You're bleeding to death.
Oh
It's
my
like,
gosh.
Okay, cool. So I have to call my wife and go, hey, get out of the drive-through and get up here and that was the longest surgery. But anyway, the thing that helped me is something that I had, it's a strange situation because like when I was going through that stuff, I felt like I was really close. But I'm a very, I'll just say I guess mostly agnostic, right? Never been a religious person. Again, very, very logical, very, that's just how
That's
I
what I
am.
was thinking. You're a very logical, practical thinker.
Yeah, but I'm very skeptical, and about things. But then, a lot of people were praying over me, nurses would come in and this one, they kept telling me things like, it's such a joy to help you because you're a nice person and
Yes, it's your
some people are
aura.
like, they're screaming at us to, get out of here. And they're being awful people because they're going through something really bad and they can't take it. He said, for whatever reason, you have this peace around you, all this stuff. And for me, it was like, it's really simple. And I know it's weird. It's like a lot of people can't think that way, but I was always like, I got to do everything I can to get out of this bed. And after that third surgery, right? It was a long surgery, by the way. It was like 8-hour surgery.
Ooh, that is long.
It was scary. They said, okay, first, you're probably not going to be able to walk again. And I'm like, okay. So I got out of bed and started walking. And they're like, okay, well, you're probably not going to be able to go back to work. I was back at work in a month after that. And then they're like, okay, well, we're just not going to put any limits on you, because apparently you know better than we do.
Not this guy.
But
Mhm.
for me, I know it sounds silly, but I kept thinking, there was a couple of different things that I was thinking was like Bruce Lee stuff, because I was into martial arts. So be like water, water becomes the cup, water becomes, it's just a philosophy that I've had for a long time. But then sounds stupid, but it's from Shawshank Redemption. Get busy living or get busy dying. And it was just like, for me, it was just, that's the way I'm going to look at things. And every day now that I know how close I was, to dying, that I'm going to try to do things that, to live my life that way,
Yeah.
that this is a gift, and it's a weird thing that I wish it's a crazy feeling, because when I finally got out of the hospital, got back to work and all that kind of stuff, I felt invincible. I was in pain. I was under, medication and everything, but I felt like I was on top of the world.
Like you felt good
I
mentally.
felt like, well, yeah, it was like I beat this. They said I wasn't going to get out of this bed. Then I got out of bed. Then, oh, you're never going to be able to drive a car again. I drove a car again. Oh, you're never going to be able to go back to work. I went back to work. And it was like, well, what's going to stop me now?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a weird thing that there are a lot of things that, and that's another thing. I used to worry about things like really, and not death or anything like that, really. Never really entered my mind. It was the little things that people worry about day to day, I got to do this, I got to do this, all these things. And then I realized that, I'm free of that, because that's just little things, I faced the big thing and, stared death at the face and was almost there. And then I came out the other side, and now I see the world differently. And it's just, I wish I could bottle that and give that to people, because a lot of these people that, complain about, I don't know, all these different ways that people separate each other, we'd realize that, maybe
It doesn't matter.
maybe those differences aren't that different,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like, it's a weird situation when I hear somebody that's going through something like what this person's going through.
Mm-hmm.
That is it's a loop. It's a feedback loop. And the only thing that I have always been able to do is get myself out of loops, and it could be as simple as, picking up a book or watching a movie or, taking a jog or whatever, I mean, everybody's got their, the thing, but there are ways to do it, but there's also people that it's just, that's the way their brain works, is that they get in these loops
Yeah, and
I
it
mean,
sounds
I've,
like that might be her first like experience of someone dying that was close to her too. So
Yeah.
maybe that triggered it.
yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things that just gets easier with time, though.
I feel the older that you get, you do learn certain tools of how to adapt to certain things or how to deal with things. It just comes with age.
I
Yeah,
don't know. Maybe it just depends on circumstances too. Like I think a lot of mine is so I've experienced a lot of death in my life, a lot, like since the age of 5. Um and between grandparents dying, friends committing suicide, someone being murdered, I mean, I've probably more death than the average person my age.
But not just like natural deaths. It's been
It's been
horrible.
everything.
Yeah.
It's been everything. So I don't know if that's what triggered it for me or what. But yeah, but when you went through something like that on the other spectrum, that's yourself, and you came out on the other side. Yeah, I guess it's just how we just navigate through life. I don't know. It's a
weird
horrible
though.
feeling though. I feel for her because
Yeah,
it used to
it's
bother me so much, and Rob would tell me like, you need to stop thinking about this. You know, there's because it's not in your control for one.
yeah,
And then if you're going to let
That's-
this like hinder your life,
But telling somebody with anxiety it's not in your control is like
it's hard.
that. That's not what someone with anxiety wants to hear.
Therapy,
And see-
therapy.
Anxiety is something that like my wife suffers from that, and it's like telling somebody, oh yeah, you shouldn't think, yeah, oh my
Yeah.
foot hurts, oh well then you should stop your foot hurting then. Or
Yeah.
so, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I get it, yeah, of course, but it's something that like you said, anxiety is something that thankfully it's something I've never had to deal with.
Oh, you
I've
never
never had
have?
that problem.
It surprises me when people say that because I feel like,
That's all we've known.
yeah, it's so normal. Like,
Yeah.
how does
It's-
it feel to have a healthy brain? I say that to Gary all the time. Like,
It's not healthy. I mean, I think all kinds of crazy stuff. But it's like what it's weird though. It's just like any other illness. It can be treated. I'm not a doctor or a psychologist to help out with that kind of stuff. But like
Yep.
what's weird is after all of my surgeries, it's kind of the same sort of thing. I was in pain all the time, but I gotten used to it, and I thought this was normal. This is the way it was.
yeah.
And then when I got out of the hospital, I'm hooked to all these tubes. I'm walking around with a suitcase full of nutrition stuff because I can't eat. It's going in through IV. That's how I get my nutrition.
Mhm.
But I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, this is like a lot, but I feel great. Like I don't have the pain anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's to me, that's one of those things where I was so used to it that I didn't know that I had this problem
Mm-hmm.
until I almost died,
Do you
So
think? Sorry, go
I'm sorry.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
Do you think that you are a different person as far as like just being nicer to people or more compassionate or all those nice words, or were you always like that?
Okay, I was always a pretty good guy, I think, but I was also very egotistical.
Really?
And
That shocks the hell out of me.
oh yeah, I would talk down to people. I would when at Blockbuster, I used to mess with everybody, and it was fun. And I would be like this far away from really hurting people's feelings.
So you were like a sarcastic.
Yep. But what this did was it made me realize that, well, number one, I'm not invincible, but there's all kinds of people in the world that you don't know what they're dealing with. You don't
Mhm.
know like for example, both of you have said you suffer from anxiety. I wouldn't know that unless you said it. So if we ran across each other in a store or something, and you might snap at me or what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
However you would react to it,
Mm-hmm.
I would just think, oh, what a horrible person or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
But no, you don't know what people are dealing with. So it's given me a lot of for lack of a better word, it's given me grace toward people. And it's just made me realize that that you don't know what people are going through. And what's funny is, I mean, I had again, I keep going back to this thing, but it kind of defined my life in a little bit. So, hey, you'll have to let me go for a minute. But anyway, I had the colostomy bag, right? For a long time. But some people didn't know I had one.
Because you hit it so well, or
Yeah, they were like, we had no idea.
Were you
because
embarrassed?
You didn't act. Huh?
Were you embarrassed, or
it could get really embarrassing. Really embarrassing, because what happens is basically you're not in control of your digestive system,
Mm-hmm.
and it would make noise when you don't want it to make noise.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's a weird thing, because you just don't know what people are going through, and you have to give people a little. You have to think outside yourself a little bit, or at least. And again, I'm talking about how I used to look at the world and go, "Oh, what an idiot," or what, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But it made me realize that there's a lot of people out there that are in pain, or they have some sort of illness that you don't know about. Just because you feel fine in the moment doesn't mean everybody does, and that you might give them a little bit of leeway.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing something that you don't like, or you don't agree with, or whatever. And it just, I don't know. And it made me, like, all the sarcasm and all that stuff that I was throwing at people, it probably wasn't funny to them. And in a way, I feel like I'm kind of making amends for all those people that I inadvertently, irritated or insulted or whatever,
Yeah.
It's just, I see things differently. It's weird. The world's brighter, and yet it's sadder, because
Mhm.
it's like, I feel a lot of people complain just because it's comfortable, and it's because that's their routine,
Yeah.
and complaining doesn't get anybody anywhere.
No.
It's trying to do something about it. Now, again, some people have reason to complain. A lot of people have reason to complain. A lot of people don't, though.
Mhm.
There's some people out there that just don't, like, oh, my phone is messed up. Okay. What?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, I pooped in a bag for a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Like, you don't know
You know what I'm
anything.
saying? It's like, I'm just trying to, there's levels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there really are.
There's levels to when things suck, but it's, at the same time, it's like, you shouldn't minimize somebody's suffering.
No.
Which is something that I unfortunately used to do a lot. I kind of learned from it.
I can understand that an inkling, because I developed melasma, and if you don't know what, maybe, like you said, maybe this can help somebody, but melasma is it's like opposite of vitiligo, like where your pigment, with that, you don't have pigment. With melasma, your pigment gets darker, and it's usually with women and on their face, and mine is right on the lip. And I used to cry and cry and cry. And like, I would feel so horrible. And I joined this group on Facebook, and I would see women that it was so much worse. And I'm like, what am I crying about? Like, not that they're not beautiful. They are still beautiful women. And of course, you see yourself way different than people see you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, like that when you said that, it's like, what is wrong with me? Like, there's people that have it worse than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only one person in the world that has it the worst. And chances are you're not that person.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? And it's
Mhm.
like, not that should make you feel better, but it just gives you perspective, a little bit
Yeah.
of perspective, and go, you know what? I can deal with this,
Yeah.
To look to the positive things.
Yeah. And it's, again, it took me, 38 years of my life to get to that point, to understand that I was looking at the world negatively.
Would you say 38 years?
Yeah. Well, I'm a lot older than that now, but that's what I'm saying. It's like,
I
after all
feel-
those surgeries, things started to come clear, and I'm like, oh my God, I've been complaining for nothing for how many years of my life?
Yeah.
Well, and it
No.
seems like in your 30s, you do take things in a different perspective. We
Yeah.
had 3 deaths in 1 year. One was Gary's brother, one was his best friend, and one was my pawpaw, who was like my father. And one was like March, one was August, one was October. So
Wow.
yeah, it was like, what the hell? And after that, like him and I became like best friends. Like, I mean, I'm not kidding you. I've told Naoka, like, I was one of those girlfriends and wives that was like, oh my God, like so dependent, so like, what are you doing? Why aren't you home? Like, he should have divorced me. But after those deaths, I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, stop being crazy.
It's age too. We're dumb in our 20s.
I was in my 30s.
It's okay. It's all right.
But again, it's loops, right?
Yeah.
You get in those loops and you get the routine. And
Mhm.
I mean, gosh, I quit my job to go work on a freaking independent movie.
And look
out of
at you
nowhere.
now.
And yeah, I mean, I haven't made any money, but you know,
But you're
I'm-
probably so happy.
it's unbelievable. And I think, okay, so if I just died on that operating table, none of this would have happened. I wouldn't have met all these people. I wouldn't have made, you know, all these connections with different people and stuff like that. It's like this is all bonus time for me,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
because I guarantee you, if this had happened in like the 80s, I wouldn't be here. Period. There's no
Right.
way. The technology had come to a point where they're like, okay, we can actually kind of fix this.
Yeah.
And it took 7 surgeries to get it right, but they got it right. And now I'm good.
To think that
But-
you wouldn't be, and I'm speaking for her too, but in our lives, that makes me really freaking sad.
Right.
Like
see,
to think
that's-
that could have been a possibility.
But see, that's the thing though. Is like if we hadn't met, you would never know.
But
That's
see, that's
true.
how my stupid brain thinks.
But see, like me, I look at it that way and I go, okay, you know what? I mean, you think about the weird thing about going through something like that is just you think about all the ways that it could have gone differently.
Yeah.
And when you start thinking about that and you go, okay, so here's what I'm left with. I don't care about any of that because that's not going to help me.
Right.
I was getting into this. I mean, going through something like that, the worst part is the mental. And I'm talking about, I had pain. Like, I don't even know if I can explain the pain. It was so bad. They said, yeah, that's basically like being shot in the stomach is what you felt. But that wasn't the worst. The worst was the mental, because
Yeah.
it was like, why did this happen to me? What did I do to deserve this?
Mhm.
All of those things that you start going through. And it finally, over a period of time, I'm like, doesn't matter. None of that matters. Only what you're going to do with today matters, you know,
Mhm.
or you know what I mean? And when you
Yeah.
start to think that way and you get a clarity, and you can also get stuck in well, screw it, I'm just going to watch TV today, you know, but at the same time, I don't know, it gave me a peace, I guess. And it wasn't, I mean, and again, all kudos to people like you Christians, you know, that get peace from God. Great. It didn't work for me. None of that worked for me. What worked for me was just a realization that the only thing that I can do, let me word that differently. The only difference I can make is what I can do today. So what can I do today to make tomorrow better for me?
Yeah.
And it was, okay, well, I mean, I wish you could see some of those pictures when I'm walking through the hospital and I'm all hunched over and I'm all like, you know what I mean? I can barely walk. And every day I bowed I could have sat in a bed and said, no, I'm not doing it today. No, I got up every day, multiple times per day. They were like, I can't believe you're doing this multiple times. And I'm like, and they at first they had to help me, you know,
Yeah.
seriously, with like straps to get me out of bed. And then at one point I'm just like, screw those straps, they hurt. So I just got out of bed. I'm walking with my IV thing down, and they're like, whoa, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm walking. Get out of my way.
Move.
And they were like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what it's, to get to that point that you want to get to, whatever that is, it takes baby steps. And you have to be willing to put in that work to get to that, you know? And that's pretty applicable to a lot of things, but I feel like I've gone, this show has gone way off track here. I apologize.
No, it's
Don't
good.
apologize.
No, I'm glad I picked that one because it's something that I think everyone thinks about at some point or maybe harps on a little bit. So that's why I picked it. But I think we'll move on to the Patreon episode. So if you want to hear more stories, hear more of our takes and Rob, just
Oh,
go over to the Patreon side and we're going to do some more.
but also before we go for Rob, tell everybody like what is going on with you.
Yeah,
Oh.
what's new?
Okay. Well, yeah. Order 42 show. I mean, it's I'm on YouTube. I'm on Twitter/X, whatever, if you want to find me there. The biggest news of the last couple of weeks was that our movie Adventures in Game Chasing is now on Tubi and on Apple TV or iTunes.
What?
And now on Amazon as well. So
Yay!
you can go watch it for free on Tubi if you want, or you can buy yourself a copy from iTunes or Amazon. So yeah, that's kind of our big news.
That's
for-
awesome.
for now.
And they won
Oh,
an award.
And we did win the award from the Fort Worth Independent Film Festival. We
What
won
was
a-
the
Wow.
What was it for?
They called it Director's Choice. We were nominated for Best Comedy and Best Overall, and we didn't win either one of those, but we won a Director's Choice Award, which basically said, look, the judges voted for these movies, but we think that this movie deserves,
I
That's
love it.
awesome.
So in a way, it's kind of like, they were like, so this is like an honorable mention kind of thing, but they said, no, this is, only a few people got these. We really liked your movie. The people that were running the film festival really liked our movie. So
Like you should have won overall.
yeah, like they think that we should have won, but since we didn't, here you go. Here's
Congratulations. That
Thank
is
you.
so cool.
Thank you.
And
it's very,
gosh,
very cool.
that was just since the last time you were on.
Yeah, this was
right?
just a couple of weeks ago when
That's
this happened.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So yeah, Adventures in Game Chasing.
Yeah, everybody
Go-
check that out.
Go look at it. Go watch it. Let me know what you think. I want to know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch this. I didn't
And
know.
he does answer his comments. He will talk.
You talk to you.
He will talk to you.
Okay, Governor.